for anybody who is either of a certain age or their parents are getting to a certain age, you kind of find out that all of a sudden, no matter what you might think, that all of a sudden you might be a little bit unprepared for having to really come to terms with the type of level of care that maybe your parents, grandparents, relatives, or someone you know, in-laws, need to start really dealing with as they get older, as they retire, as their resources physically and maybe even possibly mentally become a little bit more limited. And trying to find out what you can do and getting the proper information on what turns into caregiving as they get older can actually become very confusing and or frustrating for both ends, for both the caregiver and the person who is in need of the care. There is a service here in Santa Clarita that can help you sort through all that in so many ways, and already having a conversation with Rick Ferrante from Home Care Services off the air has really been enlightening. Rick, good morning. Welcome to the Hometown Morning Show.
Good morning. Thanks.
And we were talking about this because there is that level of potential frustration on both ends, because all of a sudden it seems like it's gradually then suddenly.
Yeah.
Where we have a situation where you've got a loved one, you've got someone who's elderly, and it goes from maybe just everything is hunky dory to, and it could happen really in a short period of time where that level of care is needed, where you really have to look out for them. You have to make sure that even things like medications are being taken care of. What are they going to do as they become more and more dependent on someone else to care for them? And I want to talk a little bit about the services you offer through Home Care Services. You've been in Santa Clarita for how long?
We've been open about a year.
Outstanding.
So, and what we're doing is, and what you're talking about is exactly right. I mean, these are the kinds of things that so many people are looking at and going through. So, at our core, and what we do is we look at it and say, okay, we have seniors, we have others that are it could be somebody other than a senior too.
Right.
But anyone who needs some help at home, we provide caregivers. We screen, train, and all that with caregivers to be able to provide that and help with those activities of daily living. So that's what we do. But, I mean, if you look at it, it is a lot more than just caregivers, okay? Individuals a caregiver, professional caregivers. But there's a lot more to this than just that. And nobody actually thinks about this before it actually occurs or needs to happen. So it's not the kind of thing that, I knew all about my car when I wanted to buy it for years before I bought that car, or TV, or whatever it is. Nobody wants to think about their parents or somebody else having this need or being in this situation. So they're not going to go and shop for it. So when it occurs, all kinds of things kind of come into play that you don't think about. So it's in home care. Maybe it's installing ramps and rails at your house. Maybe it's doing advanced directives and powers of attorney. Maybe it's grief counseling. Maybe it's nutrition. There's a lot of different things that nobody thinks about. So what we've looked at and said, okay, well, we need to try to help people in more than just providing caregivers. We do that. We do it really, really well. But if you look at it, somebody needs more than that. They need all those resources. So we've opened up our Caregiver Resource Center. It's right there on Cinema Drive, right in the middle of the street there next to Freshworks California Grill. And the idea there is we have products. We're inventorying products there, but it also a lot of outreach. And all those things I just described, that's the kind of thing that we're bringing in there with presentations, seminars, workshops, classes, etc., as an outreach to the community to be able to have all this information. It's a resource, right? So, yeah, we do caregiving, but you need more than that. I mean, you need the whole package. I'm not an attorney. We're not attorneys, but we have a great attorney that comes in that can talk to people about the things that elder care law, require. We're not physicians. We're not nurses. We are a resource for all of it. We bring in those partners that can help, and that outreach is what we're doing at the Caregiver Resource Center.
And that's outstanding, because in a lot of cases that is suddenly bestowed upon you as a new caregiver, as it were. It's kind of like you join a club you didn't know existed, but you're also not sure where to go. And in some cases, trying to find out and go to the source directly is you're not even sure who to call. You're not even sure where to go. So this is really fascinating. Such things we talk about: geriatric therapy, also financial services, making sure that when care is needed, or even that in some cases you find out, like our parents, our uncles, our aunts, or somebody else, they just have a bunch of stuff in a checking account, and it may or may not cover their needs as they get down the road. So finding out those services that can that can supplement that and put that in perspective, because there's a lot of help that people can get. They just don't know where to go for it.
Absolutely. And so we have partners that are financials that help in financial services, looking at things like reverse mortgages, maybe they're looking at the things you're talking about, different investment vehicles. Look, there's no silver bullet. Money doesn't just appear, but there are ways that you can kind of reduce the amount or make that money last longer.
Exactly.
Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but we've got good people that can help with that. So we look at it, what is it that you really need? Yeah, let's put a caregiver in there. Let's help with some respite. Let's help with whatever it is. Let's just help you. So let's find some of the other vehicles or some of the other things that you need. And that's what kind of the Resource Center is about, and our partners and everything that we're looking to do.
And of course, Home Care Services Santa Clarita, the Resource Center, is on Cinema Drive in beautiful downtown Valencia. You can also go to homecaresantaclarita.com, and I would really suggest, especially if you are inching toward that, or if you're in the midst of a caregiver situation, check out the blog as well, because this is your most recent one. Caregiving for an angry loved one, and that's the thing, the frustration level, and how to deal with that, because that's the thing too, is approaching your elderly loved one and going, you know what, it might be time for you to move to, we had the situation getting my in-laws to move to a downstairs apartment because they were having trouble getting upstairs. And, it wasn't an easy approach. You had to make them think that it was their idea. So things like that, how to handle these types of situations. So there's a lot there. Homecaresantaclarita.com, great opportunity to learn a lot. And the phone number, 800-808-4777. And you're going to be at the Home and Garden Expo in
Yes,
KHTS?
we'll be there. We'll have a booth there.
The weekend of April 25th, a good opportunity. But before that, if you have any questions whatsoever, I would urge you to take a look. Homecaresantaclarita.com, 800-808-4777. Rick, thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.